In this video, I'm going to show you how I recreated the Pixar intro in only a couple of days. I'm going to show you each step of the process, from the start to the final animation. The first step was to create the Pixar text. Even though the idea was to make a recreation of the Pixar intro, not an exact replica, I wanted the text to look pretty much the same as I liked the iconic font of the original. For the text, I used a plane with a lot of subdivisions, a displace modifier, and an image of the Pixar logo. I removed some of the verts, so I have a flat layer of text. I then extruded it. Using the Select Sharp Edges function and separating the edges, I got myself a nice outline of the text. I used a smooth modifier to get rid of the jagged edges. Then I applied an unsubdivide and filled in the text. I separated each word as I knew I would be animating them individually later on. I then scaled the words, put them in their correct place, and moved on to creating the floor and background using a plane and the spin tool. Next, I set up the camera, switched the render engine to cycles, as that is my preferred engine for this kind of thing, and I added an HDRI to my scene. Modeling the lamp was pretty straightforward. I like to use subdiv modifiers for the parts of the model. I wanted to build the lamp in 4 parts: the base, the lower body, the torso, and the head. I did look at the original model reference, but I slightly altered certain parts. I didn't like how blocky some parts of the lamp looked, so I had beveled some of the edges. For extra detail and realism for when I animate later on, I made some springs using a screw and solidify modifier. I made the light bulb with a cylinder and a subdiv modifier. That was pretty much it for the modeling. I added a simple white material to the lamp and a basic metal material to the springs. For the light bulb, I added a warm emission material with the strength at 2. I separated the letter I from Pixar, as I knew it would need to be animated separate later on. I placed the origin of each part of the lamp in a place where it would accurately rotate in real life. Next, I added a basic rig, pairing the bones to the correct lamp part. I locked certain axis rotations, as this would make it easier to animate later on. The lamp rig is not perfect, but it's good enough for a small project like this. Once I was happy with the rig, I moved on to animating. I put it into orthographic view, looked at the original Pixar intro, and tried to replicate the hop that the lamp made, whilst also adding a more realistic, grounded style to it. Once I got the animation down, I added it to the nonlinear animation timeline and put the repeat number to 6, as that's how many times the lamp jumps across before stopping at the eye. Using a path curve, I could have the lamp hopping across the path up to the endpoint. I made a head turn animation for the lamp and added that to the timeline too. After that, I made the final part of the animation, which was the infamous action where the lamp hops on the eye and squashes it into the ground. Now all I had to do was animate the eye being squashed. For this, I simply added a single bone, gave it a maintain volume object constraint. With this, I could keyframe the volume scaler at different points, matching up the lamp animation with the eye being squashed down. To finish off, I connected a texture coordinate and mapping node to my HDRI and played around with the rotation until I got a color balance and lighting setup I was happy with. Finally, I downloaded, imported, and split the original Pixar clip into segments in Sony Vegas. This was so that I have different sound effects. For example, an effect for the lamp hopping. These sound effects were then imported into my Blender project. Then all I had to do was match the sound effects to the animation. Now we have our final scene. If you want to see more from my channel, check out my previous videos. If you want to keep up to date, you can also subscribe. Thanks for watching.